You've never seen the cosmos so silent until 3 red warning lights blinked in unison like a death knell on the console. In the stillness, the only sound was the relay staticand, the hoarse plea of Governor Zara. "We are under attack. 3 worlds have turned to ash. Please help us." And in that moment, Captain Elias Cade threw protocol to the wind. "Activate the 7th Fleet." In the blink of an eye, 3 nuclear lance strikes lit up the void, ripping apart 3 peaceful worlds and echoing through space like a sudden verdict. In this video, we'll follow humanity's daring journey from the desperate cry that shattered the cosmic night to the bold gamble to rescue a civilization on the brink of annihilation. Get ready for a heart-pounding sci-fi adventure. 3 red lights blinked in succession on the control panel, then 3 more. Then 3 again, 9 pulses pounding like a drumbeat of impending catastrophe. Lieutenant Elias Cade froze mid-tap at his console, eyes darting to the wall-length holo display. It flashed, "Emergency protocol," accompanied by a relentless ticking alarm. Cade pressed his lips together, set his cold night coffee mug beside him, and lifted a finger over the transmit button. A crackling hiss cut through the silence, followed by a hoarse, broken voice. "This is Governor Sarah of the Zara Federation. We are under attack. 3 worlds have been reduced to ash. Please send help." The transmission cut out and then replayed the same frantic plea. In that moment, the pounding in Cade's ears seemed to still. They were begging for rescueth. Radiant, peaceful Zara, who had never once fired a weapon in anger, now erased down to their last ruins. "When was this signal sent?" he asked his aide, voice ice cold. "About 3 days ago, sir." 3 days. 3 days of silence, while billions of Zara perished. There was no time to spare. Cade sprang to his feet, hand slamming the console as he typed the override code. 7th Fleet, activate war status. Instantly, full combat deployment lit up on every monitor. The command ship, USS Valor, trembled like a hornet's nest as alarms echoed through its corridors. A blinding white flash marked the link to the reserve galaxy, where Admiral Serena Vance awaited. Her image coalesced, silver hair drawn back, eyes sharp as blades. "Do you understand what you've just done, Lieutenant?" Vance's voice crackled over the feed. "Ma'am," Cade replied, "the Zara Federation is being annihilated. We cannot wait for the Alliance Council." Vance's gaze flicked to the data stream. The radiation signature. It's the return of those Border Wars-era planet-killer nukes. Her eyes darkened with haunted recognition. 2 decades ago, the Border Wars had devastated millions across forward bases. "Exactly," Cade said. "Their strikes are systematic, dismantling planetary infrastructure, erasing every trace. They're now advancing on Arya Prime, Zara's last stronghold." Admiral Vance inclined her head, resolve hardening her features. "Bring me into the council meeting now." The screen shifted to a long, round table. 20 delegates from across the galaxy, seated before holopads. Earth's Ambassador Davis stood, face drawn. "We demand immediate action." The Zara Federation was a recognized member. A blue-skinned envoy with luminous eyes murmured, "We require more intelligence before committing forces." Vance didn't wait. She tapped her microphone and stepped into view unannounced. "You debate while they die. I am Admiral Vance of Earth's Defense Forces. When the call for aid sounds, we answer." The assembly fell silent. The council president, tall and gaunt, cleared his throat. "Admiral, military intervention is forbidden. This is a matter for diplomacy." Vance offered a thin, firm smile. "Diplomacy? When an entire civilization teeters on extinction, I authorize the 7th Fleet to respond to this SOS." Like lightning, 30 warships of the 7th Fleet slipped free of Earth's orbit. Vice Admiral Cade stood on the bridge of the USS Valor as the final report came in. "All 3 Zara orbits have fallen to ashes. Enemy forces are at Arya Prime's doorstep." He swept his gaze over the holo map. 3 days transit. 4 days until engagement, one path ahead: rescue Zara, expose the enemy, and avenge the fallen. In that instant, the three pleading pulses haunted Cade's mind. Please, save us. Now he, a representative of the Deathworlders, those born on the deadliest world, would answer their call. When the suit systems finish sinking, Major Thomas Grant steps out into the vast training yard on Arya Prime. The thin atmosphere and 1/3 Earth gravity make every stride and leap feel as if the soldiers themselves are springing on wings. The Marine recruits wearing pressure-stabilized armor and single-visor helmets are undergoing their final, grueling drills before deployment. They thread through a series of spiked barricades mimicking jagged terrain, fire from the lip of simulated foxholes, then plunge into half-meter deep sand pits to hone their reflexes. The clang of metal, labored breaths, and the steady rhythm of boots under cold floodlights combine into a spectacle, both grand and unforgiving. In the center of the circle, Grant's voice rings out. Remember, in low gravity, your inertia doesn't change every recoil, sends the barrel's path further. Don't let these new conditions fool your instincts. His tone is crisp, his gaze sweeping over each young soldier. A scout adjusts his rifle's angle, struggling to still the slight buoyancy in his muscles. After each volley, they drop back, crouch, and consult their analytic gear. Grant nods once, satisfied as they begin to adapt. The session ends with a rapid defense drill. Enemy forces breach without warning. Teams snap into formation, locking shields together around an unarmed recruit, simulating the protection of Zara civilians. When the last line clicks into place, Grant taps his gauntleted fist against his palm. Good. Maintain this speed and discipline in the real fight. Cheers echo across the plain while warriors of many generations straighten in unison, resolve blazing in their eyes. As the training wraps, Grant invites Governor Sarah and her Zara advisors into the provisional command tent. Inside the sturdy pavilion, dim energy lights fall on the governor's golden-hued face, still marked by bruises and scars from days hiding underground. She meets Grant's steady gaze. We have never faced direct hostility. We Zara build nurseries and libraries, not guns. Grant offers a faint smile, but speaks gravely. All the more reason to guard what you cherish. We're here not only to fight, but to teach you to stand and defend yourselves. He unfurls a hollow map, highlighting the enemy's nuclear emplacement. Within hours, our detachments will link with Zara forces to drive the enemy from civilian zones. Afterward, you'll have early warning arrays and automated shields, so you'll never be caught off guard again. To illustrate the Deathworlder ethos, Grant shares a childhood tale from Row 7 where gravity doubles Earth's. Acid storms, rage, and quakes are daily. I grew up among anti-air guns and small tactical nukes. Each dawn, I braced for disaster. When we ventured into space, we carried that survival instinct. He pauses, letting the weight of his words settle. A Deathworlder isn't just born into hardship. They carry steel discipline and unbreakable will. We don't flinch at danger. In that still moment, Governor Sarah's eyes glisten with tears. Hearing your story, I understand why humanity dared walk into the fire to save us. Grant inclines his head, because we know what it means to cry into the void. When a Deathworlder hears a plea for help, their heart won't let them turn away. At last, Major Grant and the Zara observers emerge into the tense corridor. Arya's starlight filters through the dome's galaxy-etched panels. All eyes turn to the horizon, where 3 7th Fleet warships streak into low orbit. Fortitude and determination have been forged here. Every soul stands ready to face the merciless expanse ahead. Beyond the threshold, the Marines don their final gear and inspect their weapons. Their marching feet form the opening notes of a martial symphony. Grant inhales deeply, closes his eyes for a heartbeat the moment before freefall, when everything awaits release. In the alien breeze of Arya Prime, he whispers, "Prepare to launch. We'll prove that a Deathworlder's strength lies not only in combat, but in compassion." The Shadow Lynx Recon Squadron peels away from the main formation and slips into the darkness at the edge of Arya Prime's orbit. The slender, kite-like craft is cloaked in advanced stealth technology, its outlines barely visible beneath the faint blue glow of its thrusters. Pilot Lara Diaz sits level at the controls, fingers dancing over the console as her eyes scan the high-resolution sensor displays. Ghostly remnants of the 3 destroyed Zara worlds drift in a debris field like the scar of a cosmic massacre end. Shadow Lynx glides through without a sound. Suddenly, a cluster of tiny radar returns flickers to life. They are not alone. Switch to infrared sweep. Look for heat signatures and weapon wavelength emissions, Lara orders. Behind her, sensor analyst Sergeant N. Wynn cranes over his screens, fingers tracing the flickering readouts. At least 50 warships beyond the northern orbital shelf. They haven't detected us yet. Security Officer Larson's eyes widen as he spots an anomalous energy trace. Look at this. It's not laser or plasma. This sedimentary radiation, it matches the weapon that leveled New Montana and Freedom's Point 20 years ago. His voice trembles with the memory of those catastrophes. Lara exhales softly. Her smile is colder than the distant stars. "Shruck," she whispers. "Not harmless traitors, contracted executioners." A tense hush falls over the cockpit as tactical overlays flicker to life. Outside, the enemy lines a ring of mobile energy batteries around the shattered planets, beams probing for any sign of life even as they pulverize the terrain. Lara adjusts the microwave scanner to hunt for comm traffic. Attempt enemy emergency channel monitor it. Instantly, static gives way to garbled voices. Eradicate all southern sectors of Arya Prime. Initiate Scythe Omega Protocol. No survivors. Eyes narrow at the chilling clarity of that name. Sergeant Ann reads aloud, "Omega Protocol Complete Genocide Program. Even worse than a nuclear strike." Lara's fingers fly. Record and decrypt everything. Transmit data to USS Valor. Immediately warn them to execute contingency plans. Shadow Lynx banks away, leaving the desolation of Zara's ruins behind. On the command deck, Admiral Serena Vance and Captain Elias Cade stare at the massive holo display. When Omega Protocol activated flashes across the screen, Vance's voice is steel. "They're about to unleash the genocide engine. We must move now." Cade scrolls through tactical overlays. "We'll target the mobile battery emplacements, scut their power grid, and jam their communications before they fire again." He loads a tungsten rod salvo into the railguns. "Prepare the fighter wing." Vance nods sharply. "Send Shadow Lynx back in for high-res imagery of the Omega system. Deploy Shadow Lance for strike support." Back aboard Shadow Lynx, Lara acknowledges, "Switch to maximum thrust." Plot a course to the eastern control cubits broadcasting the main command signal. The craft darts through twisting wreckage, mangled girders, shattered weapon turrets, and hull fragments drifting like tombstones. When the infrared sight catches a massive antenna array and shouts, "That's it, the Omega control node on the Hera satellite. They've built an isolated bunker to shield it from direct attack." Lara grips the yoke. "We've located the central genocide nexus. The assault team will use us as bait. Notify Grant and hide prepare the breach squad." Warning lights flash. Shrek countdown initiated 4 hours until deployment. Alarms blare as Shadow Lynx dips into the void. Every heartbeat thrums with the tension of a drawn bow, aiming to unleash its arrow at the enemy. Beyond that dark horizon, 30 Earth warships are already repositioning around Hera. Soon, they will strike, and not only the fate of the Zara Federation, but the honor of all humanity will be decided in the cold, silent night of space. The Shadow Lynx lender, as a steel bird, glides silently toward the surface of Hera's satellite. Its impact mitigation struts engage as it descends meter by meter through the airless void. Inside the cockpit, Captain Lara Diaz leans over the console, eyes fixed on the infrared map Sergeant and Wynn has brought up, about 1 kilometer from the main control tent, and whispers. 2 Shrek guards are patrolling the entrance. Lieutenant Colonel Marcus West slings his rifle over his shoulder, his chamois snug around his neck, and whispers to the assault team, "We have 1 shot. Move quietly, disable the guards, then breach before the alarm sounds." 6 Marines in vacuum armor, armed with plasma cutters and convoy transmitters, split into two teams, the Breachers and the Overwatch. Outside, the two Shrock soldiers round the curved wall, their helmeted faces lit by a harsh spotlight. Sergeant Miller raises his hand. He flicks on his electro wrench. Blue arcs sever the power circuits in the guards' rifles. They collapse without a sound. The control tent door slides open, and the Breachers rush inside. West and Torres slip down the corridor as fingerprint-scanning droids sweep over the doorframe. A warning light flashes. Intruder alert. The siren hums in the distance, not yet drowning out their footfalls. Torres hammers at a terminal, trying to silence the bell. The display flickers to show schematics, power wiring, security zones, defense layouts. They slip through the second doorway, only to come face to face with a security viewport revealing three shadowy figures. A secret door at the corner swings open, and three unfamiliar faces step forward. One is unmistakably High Counselor Vexpale, blue skin, tall and lean, clad in the Council's radiant robes, flanked by two members of the Dark Oversight Committee, cloaked in white trimmed with silver. Vex strides forward, eyes glinting with malice. "You're bold to storm our stronghold." West levels his rifle without hesitation. The Alliance sanctioned the purge of superfluous civilizations. We're here to end your genocide. Torres darts to the central console, fingers flying. "I see the charge pathway for the Omega core superweapon reactor. If we don't disable it, it will sterilize all life in the Arya system." Keys click, code scrolls, LEDs shift from red to green, shutdown in progress. Vex sneers. "Do you really believe you can stop it? This device is our own designates. Security is unbreakable." Torres keeps typing, undeterred. Bypassing third encryption lock. Success. The screen flips to safe parameters. Omega core disabled. A Shrock guard bursts through a rear door, opening fire with a plasma carbine. Miller raises his energy shield, knocks the guard aside, and drives a combat dagger through the attacker's armor. The plasma beam sputters out as the guard collapses. Amid the chaos, Torres accesses the internal data uplink, downloading terabytes of classified files. The list of 12 civilizations already wiped out, cleansing contracts signed by council members, and correspondence with High Counselor Vex. When the progress bar hits 100%, she exhales. "We've got everything." West calls it in. "Secure the prisoners. We have VIPs incoming." The 5 members of the Dark Oversight Committee are bound with nanofiber cuffs. Lara Diaz establishes an encrypted uplink and begins streaming the files to USS Valor. Aboard the command ship, Admiral Serena Vance leans into the holoscreen as data incoming flashes. As the dossier decrypt, her face pales. "They've deceived the entire council and made us complicit." On Hera, the assault team races back toward the Shadow Links. Explosions bloom behind them, the lights die, and the Omega facility is swallowed in gray smoke. The stealth ship slips away, its thrusters cutting silent corridors through the void. West gestures toward the cockpit, voice hoarse but resolute. "We stopped the genocide blade and we have proof. Next, we'll avenge the Zara and expose the Alliance Council's true face." Under Hera's dim starlight, overhead satellites drift by, marking the end of this daring raid and the beginning of a seismic political and military turning point in the fight against genocidiso, that no cry for help ever fades into darkness again. Space around Arya Prime erupted in plasma flashes and black smoke as the 7th Fleet slammed into the Shrock formation. From the port side of the USS Valor, volleys of tungsten rod-dense metal slugs rained like meteors, slamming into the enemy energy shields. The sheer kinetic force rattled Shrock defenses, shattering them at impact points and spraying molten metal into space. On the bridge of the USS Thunderchild, Captain Marcus Hyde peered through the tactical viewer. The first 3 dreadnoughts have exploded in unison. They're recalibrating shield frequencies, but they can't keep up with our rate of fire. As the Shrock orbital fortresses tried to retaliate with plasma beams and microwave missiles, human fighters screamed in. Phoenix Squadron sliced past the drop platform, looping for a second pass and strafing the flanks of enemy vessels, obliterating missile racks and radar arrays. Small interceptors gleamed briefly as they dove into mobile energy batteries, forcing the Shrock to fall back and consolidate their defenses. Before the enemy could reorganize, waves of Earth warships fanned out in a radial wedge formation. Medium cruisers encircled the periphery, while smaller escorts punched toward the center. Laying on constant pressure, Captain Morgan West barked orders. Target the command shippets, pulling back to mask its smaller escorts. A gunner on the lead frigate took aim at its main launch bay, sending a bright teal flare as the shot tore through plating. On the Krelius Command's outer hull, peripheral defenses were breached and alarms shrieked across its decks. Shrock Command scrambled to redeploy, but their sluggish response couldn't match the relentless Deathworlder onslaught. An enemy broadcast crackled over comms. "Hold your positions. Do not retreat." Instantly, the USS Ascendant launched 3 assault craft, including Shadowlings, which swept in to starboard of the Krelius Command. "Boarding team, move out," Captain Lara Diaz signaled. Through an open airlock, a 5-person spearhead led by Lieutenant Colonel West and Lieutenant Torres poured aboard. The Shrock Bridge became a chaotic battlefield red warning. Lights flickered, sirens wailed, and enemy bodies littered the deck. Within minutes, the team secured the command deck and apprehended Commander Dra and his aides. Torres tapped into the central database and extracted the Shrock's darkest secrets: genocide plans, Zara elimination contracts, and bribery ledgers implicating Alliance Council members. As the files streamed to the USS Valor, Admiral Serena Vance's voice boomed over the fleet-wide comm. "Broadcast to all ships expose Shrock atrocities and the Council's hidden conspirators." Across Arya's space, that signal washed away every layer of deception: hollow clips of destroyed worlds, the Omega Protocol orders, and the list of erased civilizations. Demoralized Shrock vessels began to withdraw. Amid the battle's haze, the 7th Fleet held discipline, striking only military targets, sparing civilians. As the smoke cleared, Arya Prime lay quiet under peaceful stars, no longer on the brink of annihilation. "We've won," Hyde finally exhaled, gazing at the serene Milky Way. But this was only the prelude. The dark evidence now revealed would rock the galaxy, and the fate of the Alliance would rest in the hands of Deathworlder's warriors who fought not just for honor, but for the innocent they vowed to protect. A vast hologram of the Alliance Council flickers in the dim chamber aboard the USS Ascendant. 20 member civilizations appear in turn, most wearing looks of stunned disbelief as Admiral Serena Vance takes the podium. Cold blue light glints off her face, forging an unyielding silhouette. "Listen well." Vance's voice rings like steel. "We have just secured the full classified logs from the Shrock command vessel, the Omega Protocol genocide plan, cleansing contracts signed by certain council members, and the roster of 12 civilizations already wiped out as expendable." Holofeeds cascade through the chamber, frame by frame, worlds charred to bedrock, Zara settlements leveled. Murmurs ripple across the assembly. Ambassador Miral of Hesperia stammers, "We on the Council, what did we truly know?" A scaled-winged delegatone of the Dark Oversight Committee leaps to his feet. "This is false. Those documents aren't authenticated." But Vance activates the verification override. Digital fingerprints and High Counselor Vex's encrypted signatures snap into place beside every genocide order. All denials collapse. Shouts erupt when Vex's seat remains empty. Delegate Frel of Kanara rises and shouts, "Vex must answer for his crime. She deceived us all." Several delegates remove their insignias, rising from their seats as the hollow doors slide open. High Counselor Vex and 2 Dark Oversight Committee members are escorted in under arrest. Chaos ignites. Some representatives storm out to caucus. Others demand an immediate election. Vance holds up a hand. "Under Alliance Charter 42B, we will reconvene the Council at once and remove all complicit parties. Meanwhile, we will extend full support to the Zara Federation and every civilization still under threat." Not a single voice goes unheard. Zorathe, only innocents whose cries for aid went unanswered. Earth's Ambassador Davis adds gravely, "We must restore the Alliance's honor." A gavel falls, opening the urgent vote. In 30 minutes, the motion to restructure the council passes by an overwhelming majority. Vance's cool smile flickers across every holo display. The new council will include the 3 Zara worlds we ignored. We will strictly oversee all armaments and ban any inhumane extermination contracts. Immediate edicts follow. Shrock is suspended from the Alliance. All Shrock assets across 7 star systems are frozen until full reparations are made. Earth's fleet will remain at Arya Prime to help rebuild Zara's infrastructure and train them in a permanent defense network. Her broadcast echoes fleet-wide. Today we saved more than a civilization. We reaffirmed our shared commitment. When a cry for help sounds, none shall be left behind. The hologram fades, replaced by a view of Arya Prime's shattered surface, and above it, the Alliance banner, now flying proudly. A new era of cooperation and responsibility begins, awakened by the power of compassion and justice across the galaxy. The sunrise pierced through Arya Prime's ashes, painting a pale rose band across shattered rocks and recovering groves. On fields cleared of debris, Earth engineers and Zara citizens worked side by side to erect an early warning Stationa, gleaming metal array, bristling with seismic sensors and antennae that relay constant signals to the USS Valor. This installation is more than a defensive shield. It is a promise. Whenever Zara faces danger, the Death Worlders will answer at once. Against a golden sky, Major Thomas Grant stood before the 1st Zara Volunteer Defense Unit. They wore lightweight armor of human design and focused intently on observation techniques, ambush trap deployment, and the disciplined use of proportional weaponry, never exceeding the boundaries of their peace-loving culture. Under the careful guidance of Grant and Lieutenant Min Trun, the Zara learned that self-defense does not contradict the civilization they cherish. Aboard the USS Ascendant, Admiral Serena Vance presided over the ceremony to bestow the honor Wind and Cloud Protector upon Governor Sarah. The Alliance banner fluttered overhead as the Zara applauded enthusiastically. Vance declared, "Today we rewrite not only a people's fate, but awaken the spirit of cooperation throughout the galaxy. When a cry for help sounds, we will always be ready." It was a triumph of compassion and justice. As the battle fleet departed, Arya Prime, leaving a small detachment to continue training, manage the emergency beacons, and handle reconnaissance, each warship glided through the Milky Way carrying the moment of reunion for the surviving Zara and the vow, Deathworlders are strong not only because they survive, but because they use their strength to protect the vulnerable. Under Arya Prime's brightening sky, new streams gurgled through the ruins, and wildflowers sprang to life, proof that life always triumphs over darkness. When those born in the deadliest places choose to seek the light and spread it across the galaxy,